Bob Massi.
Bob Massi.
Bob Massi.
Bob Massi.
Bob Massi.
Bob Massi.
Fox News legal analyst Bob Massi.
These people as a whole, Allie, cannot be embarrassed. There are no consequences to them. Some attorney generals in this country have filed some lawsuits, but they continue to go on, illegally foreclose on people's homes, throw them out on the street like a dog, and they truly don't care. And when you talk to lenders, their sense of arrogance is amazing. It's like they get offended whenever I talk to them. I say, how could you say that? And I said, well, the facts speak for themselves, guys. You're throwing people out illegally. You're signing things under penalties of perjury that's illegal. And you're so damn arrogant that you really don't care what happens to the homeowners. And until the attorney generals in this country and the attorney general of the United States get serious with these lenders, letting them know that what they are doing is illegal, they're going to continue to do it, because the truth is they don't care, period. Well, you know, where really is this girl going to go and have a life? I think most people don't care. My thoughts always were, as upset as I think most of us were as to an acquittal, I have to respect the jury. Sometimes, Shannon, liberty doesn't mean that you have to, the lack of liberty doesn't mean you have to be behind bars. Her life may be worse in some way outside as opposed to inside. Why? Because people are making the mortgage payments, believe it or not, they have disposable income. Right. That $2,000 or $3,000 a month they were paying, they have it in their pocket now. So many times that second mortgage knows they're vulnerable. They know, in fact, that they could be, they're in unsecured debt, and you can attempt to negotiate that second mortgage actually while you're living in the home and the home is being foreclosed upon. Done it many times for people. Even though you were foreclosed on, if in fact that's the case, or you short sold your house, that deficiency isn't necessarily released. So it's very important for our viewers to understand. Whatever state you live in, and every state is different, if your house is foreclosed on, find out if there is what we call a recourse against you, and if so, for how long. For example, in the state of Nevada, if you're foreclosed on, there's a 6-month period that the lender could go after you. But if you have a second mortgage on your home, they have 6 years to go after you. Every state is different. Some state has no recourse, some states do. Very important you become aware of that and ask your real estate practitioner or call a lawyer to find out what kind of state do you live in. Very, very important. In addition to that, certain type of annuities, retirement funds, and life insurance set up the right way can give you an asset protection. All that means in simple terms is this. There are certain vehicles available that if you're sued and a lender or any creditor gets a judgment against you, those things set up the right way can protect you from losing what you have.
Because you're not going to foreclose on me, and I'm going to stay in that house for an extra 6 months, maybe a year.
Well, give you an impression of something. In the state of Nevada, we have 50,000 what we call shadow inventory homes, and that basically means those that are owned by lenders in loan modifications or in foreclosures. The bottom line is the fact that some people, and we don't want to I want the viewers to understand that even though this process is going on, it doesn't mean that you sort of get your home for free no matter what. They're going to correct this problem. Can it promote people to then go into foreclosure mode? Most of those people are still cognizant of the FICO issue. So I'm not sure that's going to happen, because there's a percentage of people up there that still feel, you know what, no matter what the value is, I'm going to keep my home just because. So what the net effect's going to be, I think it's going to depend, Stuart, on how long this freeze goes on, how long it takes them to fix the problem. Then I think we'll get the true picture of what's going to happen here with those who are current.
Let's talk about what people should do if they are underwater. Yep. Let's give them 3 tips. Should they consider loan modification?
Okay, now, this is a little roadmap for our viewers. If you don't care about the value of your house, if you love your house that much, the kids love the house, they play in the street with the kids, close to the church, close to the supermarket, convenient, but you're not really worried about value, then you have to try loan modification first. The problem is, as I've covered for months, the loan modification program in this country, the HAMP program, has been a failure. But I want our viewers to know, do not despair. Continue to fight for it, even though it's frustrating, because that's really what you want to try if you want to keep the home regardless of value.
All right, this question for you, Bob. Can a debt collector act as a law firm on letterhead? Is that a way to try and fool you, maybe?
Yeah. You know what, Gretchen? This is probably one of the biggest abuses out there. People will get letters from a collection agency with what appears to be something that either is from the court or something that is from a law firm. And that violates the act that's in existence right now, because you cannot false advertise. You cannot mislead the consumer and the debtor. Again, if those type of things happen, then there is a consequence, and there's things that you can do. And one of the things that we talk about in this whole credit issue is if, in fact, you are being harassed, if there are violations, if, for example, they're contacting you at work and they refuse to, then there are divisions in every state, and you contact the Attorney General's office, and there are specific divisions there where you have the right to file a formal complaint with that division to have some type of action against the collection agency or that debt collector. So there are remedies available that are not expensive for the homeowner to pursue that.
So Bob, was Representative Heck already interested in this issue, or was it you going to him?
Well, I basically sought out the issue, but he had introduced an amendment that basically said what he just said, and that is, look, he went to the Department of Defense and said, look, we need to be able to do an analysis here, Gretchen. We got to find out how many families are affected by this HAP program, where here's how ridiculous it is. If you bought a home, let's say June 30th, 2006, and then another family a week later buys a home July 7th, 2006, they're not eligible because it's a week later, which means they don't get a benefit if, in fact, and many of these military people we'll see later on, maybe next week that I interviewed, they've been relocated, Gretchen, 10, 20, 30 times, and they're basically upside down in their mortgage. Before we finish, I want to say this. What Joe Heck did is very commendable. He's basically being proactive. But here's what I don't understand. Why do we have to have a congressman ask the Department of Defense to do something where they should have been able to do it on their own? And I say that respectfully. I love the military. But why do we need to have a congressional act where the Department of Defense should be concerned about their people and say, listen, how many people are being affected?
Right.
But that's the bureaucracy we live in, and that's okay. He should be commended, and they're supposed to have the results by September of this year, and then they'll go to appropriations to see how much money we need. It's ridiculous that it's happening.
And those families already sacrificed so much. Now, did the Senate Armed Service Committee help you at all? Did they step up to the plate?
No. This really what aggravates the heck out of me. They did not do what we call a markup for the budget. And you heard what Congressman Andrews, who should be commended. They have not even earmarked the amount of money needs to be earmarked. So I asked him, what could we do? And he said there are other legislative things through the Senate that they're going to try to get this HAP program taken care of for our military. He said by the end of the summer or September. What I asked him is what senators would vote against this. We're going to find out who is against this program and try to expose this to keep this thing going, because this is not right for our military, Brian.
Bob, I think one call to Senator John McCain. He has a way of fixing stuff like this. I like to see that happen.
So.
He's on the Armed Services Committee. Bob
Good
Massi,
idea, buddy. Good
thank you
idea.
so much. Great work.